A warm welcome to each and everyone. Joining us today is Mr. Darshan Ghodawat, the visionary CEO and Managing Director of AVA Global Logistics, whose unparalleled business ideas and philanthropic endeavors has not only reshaped the international market but also served as an inspiration for entrepreneurship worldwide. So, hi, sir.
Hi.
So, for our audience who may not be entirely familiar with your background and the vast operations of AVA Global, can you walk us briefly through your journey?
Yeah, so I'll just give you a brief insight into how we uh, started AVA Global and where we are today. So at very early age in life, I was put to work after I finished my BBM, my undergrad. I joined my father's business. My family is into uh, it's a large conglomerate and with 22, 23 different verticals. So I got a rich experience working with them for about 7 years. Started at a very junior level because they wanted me to understand, they wanted me to grow technically of whatever I was handling. And yeah, over a period, I was given a free hand at a very, very young age. And that probably made me very confident to take decisions. Some decisions went wrong, but overall, the confidence and the understanding of the global financial markets. Because when I started working in commodities, edible oils, all the agri commodities, edible oil refining, crushing. So, because all these agri commodities are basically priced as per global markets on the demand and supply, so tracking all the international markets was a key factor for me. So, I used to have days of about 18, 19 hours, but I think that gave me a lot of understanding on how the macro and micro factors impact the market. And then my first project, which I started myself, was a joint venture with PepsiCo for their entire West India operations. We set up a manufacturing plant in Kolhapur for manufacturing Cheetos, their Leher brand, Kurkure, and their entire snack food business. So that journey with PepsiCo was amazing. I got to learn a lot. Uh, and Yeah, so that's how it was. And my core focus while I was back in the family business was agro commodities. We exported roughly about 500,000 tons. And when we do that, in that particular business, most of your competition is all the multinationals who've got deep pockets, who've got cheap money. The only way we could compete with them was on our sourcing, because we were there on ground dealing with the farmers. Our sourcing was very strong. Our costs were very lean. Uh, so the only other part which was not in our control was the supply chain, the logistics. So with our logistic requirement being so huge, I was always inquisitive that, what is this business all about? Why is there such a big range when we take quotes from different people for the same port? So it was very intriguing for me, and I really wanted to deep dive into it and understand how this whole business works. And that's where the idea of AVA Global came in. And initially, the idea of AVA Global was for our own requirement. But in 2015, in 2014, December, we started AVA Global. In 2015 mid, I walked out of the family business and I started on my own. I wanted to start a journey on my own. That's when I moved to Bombay and started fully focusing on AVA Global. In less than 8 years, today we manage roughly about 350 companies, out of which almost 80% are listed entities for their entire import and export logistics. So yeah, that's how the journey of AVA Global began. So I particularly feel the reason why we did well in such a short span is because I have been a shipper myself. So as a shipper, I really understood what were the problems that the shippers were facing, which a logistic partner was not able to solve. So when we started AVA Global, my thrust was on how do we ensure that shippers get everything that they are looking for, which I lacked from my logistic partner when I was using them. So we incorporated all that, with the real-time information, with container tracking, with technology, with personalized attention, tailoring to their requirement, ensuring their logistic cost comes down. All that has really helped us grow in this market. And yeah.
So, as you said, you come from a business background. How has your family legacy shaped your approach towards entrepreneurship and influenced your decision-making process?
So I think it's a lot to do with you, with your growing up years. What you see, how you see your family working. So I've always grown up watching my father work, and my father is a very like, there cannot be a day where anything in his routine changes. If he gets to office at 8:30, from last 35 years, he gets to office at 8:30. So I've always grown up seeing that. So for me, for him, work was way of life, and so is for me, because I've always grown up seeing that, and that's the one thing that's I have also incorporated. So that definitely discipline, work ethics, uh, and the free hand that they gave me in the early years. Of course, they put me through the grind for the first 2 3 years for me to get a technical understanding of the business. But after that, a free hand to take financial decisions. I think at that age, at 22 23, to have that decision making power, I think that really gave me the confidence to go out, face the world, take decisions on my own, understand where we are going wrong, what are the analysis that needs to be done. I think these were very important factors in the early years of my life and my growing up years, that that has really helped me now to scale up this business, in different continents of the world.
So, you have successfully scaled edible oil manufacturing to 3 lakh metric tons and established a partnership with giants like PepsiCo India. What challenges did you face during these expansion and how did you overcome them?
So when I got into the edible oil business, first 2 years was a learning phase for me. But quickly I jumped on to understanding where India was heading 10 years down the line. And with Indian agri, or especially oil seeds, because we do it in a non-GMO way, it is not genetically modified, so our yields are quite low. So back then, my forecast was that eventually India will only end up importing its edible oils. That's when we ramped up the capacity. And 10 years down the line today, India is the largest importer of edible oils. So I think when you have a foresight, and when you look at things of what it's going to pan out 10 years, 15 years from now, that's when a real business kicks in. So and with PepsiCo, it was a great experience. The professionalism, because again, we were a family business, so whenever we used to interact with them, it was very professional. There was a hierarchy, the authority, delegation, decision making. I think a lot of that now in AVA Global, I try to incorporate, because eventually processes and systems are what makes a company, and not the people. Because today I'm there, tomorrow I might not be there, but the company still has to function. And with these large companies, you learn that people come and go, but companies live forever. So you got to build a company that's long lasting.
So, amidst your busy schedule, how do you find time for yourself? Are there any hobbies or habits you have cultivated this far?
I love traveling. The only nice thing I would say with my logistics business is that it's really, for me, like it's a dream come true, because we operate in so many continents. I travel so much. I love traveling. I'm a very social guy, and I have great set of friends across different parts of the world in India. So wherever I am for work, so I ensure that in the day I finish off all my work. In the evening, I catch up with those people, because it's important to keep in touch with people. And plus, when you meet different people from different cultures, people from different industries, there is so much to learn. Every industry is going through a different phase. So for me as a as a supply chain, it's very important for me to understand what's happening in every industry, because we are not made of one industry. We cater to every single industry possible. So I think my interaction with people is quite good. And yeah, apart from that, of course, I love playing tennis. I play cricket. So whenever I get the time, I do that. I love reading. So I spend a lot of time reading because I literally take like 300 flights a year. So flights is my best time to read.
So innovation is at heart of AVA Global. Can you share an instance where the company's commitment to innovation resulted in a game-changing solution or service?
So very early in 2015, like I was telling you, when we started the logistics business, today it's become a common practice about container tracking and real-time information. But back then it was not that. Back then any company would call their logistic provider, they would call the shipping line and wait for shipping line to update you on where the container is. But since 2015, we worldwide, what were the best softwares, we incorporated that into our global. So from day one, we've been giving container tracking, we've been giving real-time information, and we've tried to automate a lot of processes here, because logistics is a very repetitive work, because you have hundreds of customers you're handling, and people can, like, say I have a sales team of say 40 people, and 10 people are working on the same ports, but for different customers. So there's a lot of repetitive work that people keep doing. So we've gotten a lot of technology where, if a quote has been made for a particular port, immaterial of who the shipper is, the other sales guy can see it, that this was worked this morning, and you can quote the same, so he doesn't have to waste his time going through that process. So I think human interaction with technology is a great combination in logistics.
Nice to hear, sir. Beyond your business endeavors, you have deeply involved in philanthropic activities such as supporting animal shelters and feeding programs. So, what drive you towards these causes, and how do you envision them integrating these value further in AVA Global's operation?
I think somewhere down the line, I feel that we are extremely blessed to be in that 1% pie, and it is our responsibility to ensure that people who do not have all these things, we do our best to ensure that you know it's very sad to see the how the wealth is distributed. So I think so we do a lot of programs, me and my wife. My wife is particularly, more than me, particularly lot inclined towards philanthropy, animal shelters, and yeah. So she's been doing a lot of it. Of course, I do my bit whenever I get time, but old age homes, helping small children, poor children during operations, and animal shelters, of course. So whatever possible from our end, but we take very keen interest. She is completely devoted to that. She spends a lot of time on that. I do whatever I can in the best of my capacity, but we get a great pleasure by doing this. It really feels good.
Nice to hear. So, AVA Global has a presence in 140 countries. How do you manage the cultural and operational nuances across such a vast and diverse landscape?
See, that's why technology has become so big, right? Doesn't matter which culture you come from, the technology is the same for everybody. So of course, there are a lot of business, especially we are in a B2B business where human interaction is very important. That's why you need local partners, you need people from that particular geography. But today, it doesn't matter which country you belong to, where you come from, and as long as you have the right technology that can solve a problem, uh, the world is ready to accept you. Finding a problem and finding a solution to it is the biggest challenge today. And if you're able to do that, I don't think geographies matter.
So, looking at the future, where do you see the logistics and supply chain industry headed? especially with advancement in technologies such as 4PL and 5PL arrangement? And how is AVA Global preparing itself for these shifts?
So I personally feel that we've handled a couple of large projects in Africa. Those projects really gave us a lot of insight into what the problems there are, and we came out with a lot of solutions that eventually helped the project cut down on costs. Uh, what happens is, I think technology, this industry particularly, is not consolidated. Even in India today, you would see about 20,000 freight forwarders. So I think all the other industries that we see after tech coming in have really consolidated. The big guys have become bigger, the smaller have vanished because they couldn't match the cost that the big guys were doing. So I think that consolidation is due from a long time in the logistics industry. Uh, Again, the reason being why it is not happening is because we are still not completely digital with our custom clearances, with our port operations. But under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, a lot of changes have happened in the last 9 years. And we are very confident that there'll be a day when we work like the US, where AVA Global sitting in Bombay on their computer can clear a container in Chennai. Today, we need to have office in Chennai. We need to have a guy who needs to be at the port to clear the containers. So I think once the government part of it also gets automated, and when these technologies merge together, I think that'll play a very key role. Uh, every customer today wants to deal with only one company. They don't want to engage with, for one particular shipment, they don't want to engage with 16, 18 people. Any cargo that we handle changes roughly about 16, 18 hands through the process from factory to their customer. So the 4PL and 5PL play a very important role because these large companies want to deal with only one guy who do their transportation, custom clearance, shipping, custom clearance on the other side, warehousing, and delivery up to their customers. So I think we are in a great position we are already doing it, but once I think Indian customs become completely automated, I think we will have a seamless way of working.
So with this, we come to the end of our interview. Anything will you like to share with our viewers?
No, I think the only thing I want to say is that we are in an era, I think next 10 years are like the golden era for Indian businesses, entrepreneurship. So, just keep your eyes open. Opportunities are everywhere. Classic example. In 2015, I started with nothing and with great opportunities. So if you have a problem solving approach, most of the people run away from problems. But if you have a problem solving approach, there are plenty of opportunities, and the growth story in India is tremendous with the stable government and the perception of India globally now. I think we are in a great position. Yeah.
So thank you, sir, and it was really nice talking to you.
Thank you so much.